Welcome to our weekly Friday Talk and Tour series when we share the opportunity to visit the studios of our wonderful artists and hear about their works and inspiration. These visits are brought to you by the Duncan McClellan Gallery and the DMG School Project of St. Petersburg, Florida. Thank you for joining us.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday and happy Hanukkah. It's great to see everybody. And I haven't seen some of you in quite a while. So thanks for being here today. We have a great artist, Martin Rosol, that we have been so excited about carrying his work in the gallery. The work brings light. It brings excitement in. They're magnificent works, Martin, and they're very interactive for the viewer because you walk around these and then all of a sudden you get this huge surprise. And so they're always exciting. DMG and the gallery have been doing quite a bit in the last few weeks. We're finishing up putting in some brand new equipment in DMG. The team is working on the filming so that we'll have some tutorials and some classroom things for teachers to download coming up shortly. We have a couple right now, but we're getting more. And we're preparing the gallery for our two artists, our artists in residence that are working in the hot shop. DMG gave them 6 weeks of glass blowing time. We put them up and they're having their show next door. The factory is opening tonight. It's a new art complex that's opening in St. Petersburg, right next door to our gallery. And so we look forward to that. We just want to thank all of you for joining us for these weeks, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as our team has enjoyed getting to know the artists even better, getting to see their studios, and getting a better insight of what the work is about. So thank you very much. We hope you have a wonderful holiday. Mary will tell you about our schedule and more about our artists. So thank you very much. Mary, take it away.
Thanks, Duncan. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And thanks to Danielle for helping me with this presentation, Irene for helping us, and Martin for being here and sharing his wonderful work and his time and all the expertise, which we'll get a glimpse into shortly. Upcoming, Martin is sending new work actually this weekend, which will be arriving at the gallery for our show opening the second weekend of January. It's spectacular work. Every time we see new work from Martin, he goes another step beyond what he did before, and it's really, really beautiful. In February, Mark Laputa will be here. So Mark is also bringing new work down that will be here January, February. And then in March, we have an exhibit with artists from Santa Fe and New Mexico. So please stay tuned. We'll also be doing programming surrounding all of that. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you, Martin. Martin, do you want to say hello for a minute while I get the screen up?
Sure. Well, thank you, Mary. First, I want to say I'm glad I can do this, and I'm proud to be part of the Duncan McClellan Gallery. Thank you, Mary, for the introduction. Also, thank to Danielle and everybody else who participate in this session. It's very exciting. So I'll pretty much take over if you don't mind. So
sure. Martin, before we do that, I just want to say a few things about housekeeping. If you want to keep Martin in the primary view, go up in the top right of your screen. There'll be a way that you can choose speaker view, and choose that and you'll get to see Martin. Also, if you have questions and comments, please put them in the chat button. We'll be pausing every now and then and relaying the questions and comments to Martin. So thank you. So Martin, thanks for being here. And
Yeah,
please go ahead and tell us about yourself.
thank you, Mary. So, well, I was born in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and since I since I was born, just grow up and start working with glass about when I was 17, and I'm little little bit nervous to do this, but I hope everything will work out. So this is a beautiful picture of Prague early in the morning when I was traveling through streetcar. I took this picture and I really like it. It's a historical city. If you have a chance to visit it, it's wonderful, wonderful. I know now with the corona, it's really difficult to travel anywhere, but if you have a chance in the future, it's definitely a place to visit. So this is a Prague castle in that mist in the background. Also nice view of Prague, and you have a street just like any other city, but a church behind. That's Saint Nicholas Church, which is very beautiful. And there is a also inside of that church, it's an organ which used Amadeus Mozart in the time when he was staying in Prague.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. All right, so we are back in a riverbank where I was pretty much my neighborhood. So this is my father, and behind him is a very famous architect building. The architect name is Frank Gehry, and it's representing Fred and Ginger Esther as a dancers. So it's called Dancing House. And the picture is there because we used to live right beside that that building lot. So when I was in Prague, the that house wasn't there, but now it is, and it's beautiful, and I like it. Some people have trouble to accept this building. So this is me, my wife, and one of the leading architects, Mr. Milinich, who who helped actually build that building, and he used to be my neighbor where we used to live in Prague. So now this is my father again, shortly before he passed away. I mean, before he passed away. So and I he was a also artist. Oil, he did oil painting. He does prints and paints like drawings. So I like to make dedicate this show which I did in Prague uh, in this beautiful uh, exhibit hall, which is beside this old water tower right on a river, uh, Vltava. And when you see the inside of the building, it's quite stunning exhibit hall, very a lot of light. And when I didn't really want to divide this space with any walls or anything like that, but that's left me with this beautiful space. And I was actually thinking what to do with the middle because definitely need something. And one day I came up with this idea, make
Martin, Martin, you're muted somehow.
unmute.
There
I'm
you go.
sorry. I
That's all
don't know
right.
how that happened. Sorry. So
That's,
again, I explain about that pendulum. So one day I was kind of thinking what to do with that beautiful space when we spread all these my dad's painting around the walls, suddenly the middle was empty. So I got this idea based on a Leo Foucault pendulum, which in 1800 he constructed in Paris to demonstrate the Earth is actually moving. He swing this pendulum, and in a while the pendulums start changing the direction. But now everybody knows is the pendulum doesn't need to explain the Earth is turning. So
So this is all your father's work, is that correct?
yes, all these paintings and tapestries are my dad's work, and so we will, I just want to say about my dad and get back to my work also. But I just want to show you this pendulum, which is in. This is my wife at the show, and myself. This is the sky uh, skylight looking at the old water tower. And this is how we constructed this pendulum. So these rings are 2 inches thick, and they're, they're hanging on a wire, or I would say rather cable, because the pendulum is like 200 pounds of glass. So I have to be suspended really securely. And when we put these rings are cut by water jet, and we kind of secure it with a silicone on the inside so it's not disturbing the view. And so
So
this is pretty much whole thing.
you created those yourself as well?
Now these were made in Rochester, in upstate New York, because I didn't really have the material as big for the last circle, definitely. But if I want to have everything identical and same, so I have to have them made all these rings at once. And I think it came really nice. The point which is this is the height. It's swinging like this. So basically the circle table which is surrounding this pendulum, it's protecting the pendulum so nobody can really touch it. And also the center is filled with fine sand, and the point is making these special lines, and it's like something moving through time. Basically there was a passing because my dad passed away, so I thought this is a very elegant piece of art in the middle of this beautiful exhibit hall. And you can sit on this bench and enjoy the view of those oil paintings and tapestries. And so that's basically what it is. So this is actually permanent uh,
Inst-
setup for this pendulum in hotel in Brno when I installed it that last year. And so these are the lines which the pendulum actually create in the sand. And it was really a surprise to me because I thought it would be like uh, just the rings or ovals or anything except this. This is almost like my dad's art pieces, which he create in his studio. So
and the lines are very, similar in the way they flow in and out that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And
All
now,
right. So I left Czechoslovakia illegally. Basically, we escaped uh, in 1986. And we spent almost 2 years in Europe, and now we are back in Massachusetts, where I started working, and we moved to US with my family, my wife, and two daughters. So this is our home, and this is our garden. We had some fruit trees, and these are my hands kind of creation. And so we we have a wood stove, stock wood, very simple life. But yeah, I like to show you around our house. So this is Hannah's garden, my wife, and she really likes to pick some uh, interesting stones from a river which are nearby. This is very incredible stone which we just found, look like a statue, amazing. Okay, now I can invite you to my studio and we can talk about a little bit of glass, how I create my sculptures and objects and so forth. So when you enter, there is a machine on your left hand side, which is working with pumice. It's for polishing. It's a flat polishing wheel. Then we are moving to diamond saw, which is a very noisy and dangerous machine. And I have grinding lathe for creating lenses and cavities in the glass, belt sander, and other machines like polishing cerium and pumice, different kind of wheels with different profile. These are uh, mold mold making pieces for my molds, which I need to if I need recast or recast some material to different shape. This is a wheel for polishing, and there's a couple more uh, grinding wheels, which they are stone, and some of them are diamonds. I'll show you later how they are used. They are used with this machine. It's called a glass lathe, and the step pulley. You can probably see you can change the speed that way.
Your work is so technical. I mean, the pieces when they're done are so exquisite, and yet there's so much technical work behind them.
Well, thank you, Mary. It's very kind, but it's nothing like just everything else you work with, glass or metal or clay. You always need so many tools and so many machines to do that. This is my stock. This is my material, which is bought like at bars. I usually getting that from Czech Republic. These are samples of famous artist work. Lino, this is Libensky Brichtova, my friend Michael Pavlik's work also. These are kind of my drawings and special things. Yeah. Excuse me.
Well, I was so impressed at the studio to just see all the pieces in different stages of development, and how you keep track of it all.
These are parts of one sculpture which you will see later finished. So creating this yellow part and connecting uh, other clear uh, clear piece which I will be working on. So these are all kind of used to be a show with Josh Simpson, our neighbor. This is my casting oven for melting glass if I need to how I said, reshape some materials. So then I'll make the mold, put the glass in it, and then simply bring it to 14, 1600 degrees, and usually the glass melt and take a shape of that my mold, and then after a week or so, I can take this annealed piece out and start using it. These are unfinished or partially finished pieces or parts for another objects and sculptures. So just it's just my studio, you know.
And I love how your drawings are just everywhere.
Yeah, well, you never know where some idea actually hit you. So you take a piece of paper and just quickly make a note, like a drawing or a sketch, basically. And that's the way I do it. I used to do much more detailed sketches. I have several several books.
That's right, you have sketchbooks full. And then
Yeah.
these are two small pieces just kind of waiting for more inspiration.
Well, these are basically the smaller one. Actually, that's I did it in Corning. I show you a picture from Corning later, but it's like a demo piece for students to see what can be done
Mhm.
with very minimal effort. Of course, minimal, right? So, and the larger piece is just the same idea, but a little bit different approach.
Before we go on, does anyone have any questions for Martin or any comments? No?
Somebody had said that they have wheel envy looking at your all of your wheels there. And then we have some friends in Massachusetts wanting to know more specifically where you are in Massachusetts.
No, we are in Shelburne Falls. I'm sorry. Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts. It's a very little town with famous Bridge of Flowers, if you ever heard about that. It's old trolley bridge over the river. And since the trolley doesn't work anymore, there are a group of people put plants on this bridge, and it's in the summer, it's very beautiful.
It's beautiful, and I think now they have holiday decorations on it as well. And the river, the Greenfield River, is
Mhm.
so extraordinary, and it has such force. And that stone carving we saw is one of many, many stones that are hollowed out by the force of that river. Beautiful town.
Are you talking of those glacier potholes?
Yeah, the potholes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're amazing. All right, so we are back in my studio, and this is still picture of me uh, cutting the block diagonally. So I will create two these wedges, and how I said previously to Mary, these pieces when I cut them, they can stand on my workbench for, let's say, several days before I even decided how to approach this and how to make the cuts. So in this case, I decided to do this leaf shape piece, which is very typical for me, like two parts of glass, which will be this is pretty much done shaping it. So now you start polishing it, and this is the final piece when it's laminated all together. So
I believe we sold that piece actually for you to
yeah,
a
I
wonderful
think
place.
so. Yes, you have that. This is me again shaping the part of the sculpture, uh, making like a half cone shape with a point and edge, and then the edge will continue with the yellow part of the sculpture, which is standing on the table. So just this is grinding on a diamond embedded magnetic pad, and everything has to be done underwater because the friction create heat. So all the glass have to be ground under the water. And this is how I'm checking if I did a good job and if it's fitting quite. So from this side have to be flat, from the other side the point cannot go over, so it'll be like a point. And so before I laminate it, all the sides have to be polished, and the blue side have to be really flat and fine 600 grit surface for good bonding. Yeah, and this is the final piece. When I did like some decorative uh, channels on that yellow part.
And this
And
piece is on its
this,
way to the gallery, right?
yeah, I just sent it yesterday. I mean, over the weekend we'll go to the gallery with the shipper.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
So this, I let you talk about these maybe. No, Mary, this
Sure,
is all
sure.
the work.
Sure. So this is the work before it was packed up, and we got Duncan on the phone, and he got a look at it, and we decided what. It was hard to decide what pieces from this beautiful group are coming, but everything on this table is coming, and it will be in the gallery very soon for everyone to enjoy.
Martin
Yeah.
made it very difficult to choose.
No. Yeah.
Every single one is incredible,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
we're very honored to be getting it and showing your fine
Sure.
work.
Thank you, Duncan. Yes, I just saw some question. Somebody asking how I get the green color in that yellow piece. If you go back, yeah. So this one look more blue, but when I turn the, yeah, on this one, if you turn it around, you see the green. So that's because I cannot mix the green color in the epoxy. So the combination of the yellow glass and blue epoxy make the green. That's the explanation.
And as you go around that piece, sometimes you see blue, sometimes you see yellow,
Yes.
sometimes you
Yeah.
see green.
Changing.
Hmm.
Right. So these are several these objects I sending to Duncan Gallery, and yeah, you saw the group on the table, which you cannot really make up how they look like. But this is a better view of all these pieces uh, I am sending. So this is a window piece. This is yeah, you see the secret heart equilibrium. Yeah.
And
Again,
this is in the,
most of the pieces are from several pieces of glass laminated. I didn't explain the colors. Sometimes I use colored glass. Sometimes I use colored glass and color epoxy. So that's I create these shades of color in the pieces.
so in a minute, we're going to see a video of how you created a piece like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
This is in the gallery now. Good. So here's
yeah.
how you start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is basically I have this uh, piece of glass which is like a half moon, and I'm going to cut it diagonally again, like that blue piece. And so when I carefully measure it, because once you cut it, it's gone, and if you go crooked, you might lose the piece, or yeah. So I have to be careful. Anyway, so when I go through the piece, we'll see it in a minute. I'm just checking if I go on the line. So this is how it's done. It's very noisy and wet, and so it's a process of love, I guess. So once I get, because the saw is only, I can use only 5 inches of that, so I couldn't get right through it. So I have to flip it, then I have to measure if I meet those lines on the other side, and I cut it again through the piece, the rest of it, so I can get those two pieces safely cut.
I can't even slice a loaf of bread straight, Martin. So
Mm.
this is amazing.
And the help, the table and the wheels help a lot to go straight line, but if you if you don't measure it, if you don't check it, you might end up right next to it, which happens sometimes, but not in this time. This time I think I got it pretty good, and I got these two wedges. The next step will be just make it smooth those sides because there is like an overlap from the cutting, so I need to smooth it up on a grinding wheel. This is like 60 grit. Again, it's running with water. The, the water is bringing the grit on the wheel, which is spinning. I'm just holding these down with some sort of pressure, and now I'm marking the cavity, basically the half lengths, which have to be uh, created, will be grinded on that uh, grinding leg. So we'll see, I'm just marking if it's matching with the other half. And of course, these pieces are uh, already matched together, and the other half is already polished, so I have to be careful. On this point, you see how I grind this lens. First, I use the stone wheel, then I finish it with the diamond wheel. Of course, to get it polish again to clear, you need to spend a little more time, but obviously you will see in the end everything is polished and nice. So this is the other half. I'm creating this kind of half moon channel, and that's how I do it. I just cut these slices and then I break it out with a hammer. You have to be careful so you don't chip the whole piece where you don't want to. Now I'm grinding that channel through the piece, and this is the part when I'm matching the top piece to the lower piece, and that will be basically the design on this object. And here it is. Yeah, you can probably tell the top is not clear, but it's yellow. But sometimes it's you just create piece before you start the demo. Right?
Incredible. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, um,
Uh-huh. Oh, we
jumped
have
from
we
studio.
have the Corning studio. I see. All right. So in end of 90s, I got invited through my dear friend Yuji Hartsuba, who was a Czech engraver, to Corning. And since then, I didn't miss the year. So every year I went there with him to teach. And then after a while, I got offered to teach my own classes. So this is a group of our visitors. My wife with Martin Janetsky in the middle. He's a pretty tall guy, if you know him, and the other two guys and a girl that's Hannah's family, which they were visiting from Czech. So we create this picture. Martin actually didn't have the shirt on. He just laid on his shoulders. So, but it looked like he had it on. Anyway,
So Martin, how many years have you taught at Corning, and how often per year do you teach?
You know, Mary, I never counted. So I think I started going there before 2000. So it's definitely almost 20, definitely 20 years. So that's quite a bit.
And you
And
do teach?
unfortunately, we missed it this year.
Yeah.
But for next year, we have scheduled some session. I'm sorry,
No, no, no. So you do teach with other people, correct? Such as this gentleman?
yes, that's Jerzy Hartzuba who started with me to teach, and obviously you see he's just only a gentleman in this woman group. Yeah, mostly women and girls. They love engraving because it's not as physically a challenge, but it's also very, you have to be very patient. So this is one of the group when we were teaching together, and the young girl, well, they're all young girls. So the youngest one on your right hand, that's my daughter Susanna, and she took Yeshi's class as well when I was there. So this is another group taking picture with Yeshi, Yeshi being very busy, and me in the middle. So that was fun.
And he's considered probably the best engraver in Europe right now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he was incredible. He was very good engraver. One of the best, yes, I would say. There's a lot of people who does this work, but not like him. He started also like he did coins and medals for engraving. So the glass is, I think, very close to that. If you engrave metal or glass,
Sure.
it's a slightly different technique. You don't use this kind of machine for that.
And I remember you brought him by at one point in Massachusetts, and he saw Elizabeth Sterling's work, and he thought that that was
Yeah, yeah.
really impressive as far as engraving goes.
And
I
sorry
think
to
he did
interrupt. Somebody's asking how you spell the name, please.
Jiří. Which one, Hartzuba or Jiří? Uh, I can
So it's
write it on a paper.
Hmm.
the engraver,
Uh,
asked Susan Fingerman.
can you? I'll spell it for you, okay? So his first name is Jiří. It's Jiri, and last name is Hartzuba, Harcuba.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
he fortunately he passed away 2000 I think 14,
Yes.
and he's not longer coming to Corning, but what I do, I don't do any engraving, but I teach classes about cold working and lamination with Hexel. So this is another picture uh, of demo how to polish a piece of glass, and this is the preparation before polishing. Because all these steps are very important. You have to make them as best you can. Otherwise, if you left some grit or scratches, it will catch up later on with you because you using always uh, finer and finer material. So you need to spend longer and longer time if you need to remove any imperfection. So, and I'm very bad with that because I'm really looking for perfect surface. So sometimes students really don't like that because they think, oh, it's done. But I said, no, this is not done. This is not done. So I point on all these problems like I'm doing in this picture. And this girl, on the left, she's not really happy. So,
But Martin, I want to interrupt here to bring you back to something you said earlier in the day today about how you started working with glass, because I think it speaks to your level of perfect expectations. So you started in a glass factory when you were 17, correct?
yes, wasn't really fact. If you say factory, you think it's like Stuben, people sitting in rows and grinding and grinding. So this was like small studio in Prague, which there there were only five five men working on on glass projects, and we were we were doing projects or designed by uh, that time uh, not too famous but now famous artists like František Wiesner, Pavel Hlava, and others. So we were basically uh, introduced to very high quality design, and we just make these pieces happen, and the company then sold these products through their stores, and sometimes they end up in the world. They send them to the Germany, England, maybe to US also. But in that time, I didn't really have much knowledge about that. I simply just trying to get my skills the best. And what I want to say, mm, the class pretty much catch up with me because I start enjoying it. I didn't know I will like it, and then I knew need to do something with my hands. If you're 17, you don't really look for anything to do except some fun. But you know, uh, in communist Czechoslovakia, that was illegal not to work. So everybody have to work and everybody have to be employed. Yeah. So I was graduating in 1976 from this apprentice job, and then I had to go to military service for 2 years. And when I got back, I just lost 2 years of my life because I was wasted in military service. And so I got back to this grinding facility, this studio, and I was just employed there until we left. But between that, uh, I started doing my own uh, design and my own objects you know, from the glass, which we were able to here and there find or buy. So, and I sent one of my sculptures outside to Germany actually, to Munich. There was a international Handwerk Messe, something like expo, and surprisingly, I got a gold medal for this sculpture, which was previously awarded to people like Wiesner, Libensky, Hlava, and me. Some Martin Rosol, who nobody know me in that time. I still have that article from the newspaper. But anyway, we don't want to talk about that. Uh, I left the country in 1986 just because I didn't have a chance to make my own work. So,
Well, thank you. That explains, I think, your high level of artistry and your, the level that you set the bar for yourself, and here passing that on to the other folks. So
yeah,
thanks.
cool. Thank you. So this is another example. We had a gluing room in Corning, and mixing some epoxy. And you will see in the next picture we can laminate the pieces together with the color epoxy. It have to be mixed, two parts plus the color. So now I'm placing the top piece on the bottom piece so carefully so you don't catch any bubbles. And once you do that, we securely uh, tape this together so it doesn't slide off because have to stay like this overnight in a box, heating box, where it's like between 80 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And the next day, you can handle it and you can start grinding some object from that material you previously put together. So this is a polishing of one piece, which you will see next. So this is pretty much stage between the high polish, but this is from a pumice, and I think it's wet, so that's why it's looking so good. Always students bring me wet pieces of glass and say, can you show me if it's done? No, you have to dry it because it's wet, it looks perfect. Yeah. And this is another example cutting a shape of a pyramid, which will be turned to the conical shape. And yeah. This is this is me helping Martin Janetsky finish one of his sculptures. And yeah, in Corning, of course, again, because there is always like several sessions go simultaneously, like a glass blowing, maybe engraving, maybe cold working, also working on a storage or even casting. So there's several studio. Yeah, this is another happy student with her grow technique piece. So, yeah, another student cutting on a saw. And I think one
Martin,
of, yes,
sorry to interrupt. We've got some questions about where you get the glass.
yes.
You buy the blocks of glass. Is it glass and crystal? Another artist friend was
I used,
asking.
yes, I used to buy it from Shot Factory in previous years, but they stopped selling to artists. So there is of course Chinese glass which you can get, but my glass is coming from Czech Republic and China. So that's two sources I have. And yeah, the shipping it's a little bit difficult, but especially now, I didn't order any glass this year, but from China, uh, you can get these blocks of glass fairly inexpensive if you're getting through Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic. I'm sorry, they'll be more expensive with the shipping, and also they have to be re-annealed, which means you cannot cut them right away. You have to put them in an annealing oven, bring them to the annealing point, and slowly cool them down. And even then, it's a little risky. Yeah.
Thank you.
So these are samples of students' work on basically my my I wouldn't say design, but recommendation. That's what I would say. Yeah, because these are very small objects. I would say between 4 inches maximum. You can do it because our time is limited in Corning, and also the machines cannot handling heavy objects.
So Martin, following up on the question about glass, when you have a class at Corning, do you pre-order a whole?
They they provided the glass. They
Okay.
provided some clear Chinese glass, and they provide some of the what is called the color glass from. Yeah, I forgot
And
that.
can you talk about the colored glass and how you get the color? Somebody's asking in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the colored glass, it's colored in a factory, so you get those blocks either blue, yellow, amber, black, and one time I got even green, which was surprisingly. Uh, and so these are all from China. And I didn't find any other source. But these are the blocks I need to anneal. So the annealing, how I said, you have to find the schedule for annealing and put it in for a week to the annealing oven, and then get it that done. So I have some schedules. Sometimes works better. Sometimes some of those blocks cracks. I have a whole bunch of those in my studio. But the color epoxy, which I use, that's available over the his classwork. He's selling the Hextel, which I said it's two-part epoxy, and the the dyes. He doesn't sell those dyes. I have to get in contact with this person who is interesting. But also in Corning, they will give you this information where to get it.
Ah,
You can contact Harry Seaman. He is the one of the head of the studio, and he's usually ordering these dyes for us.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is me with one of my sculptures, and this is again in the Corning. And yeah, that's me, dirty and happy.
And
Yeah.
that's the end of a long day, right?
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. Well, thank you very much for interest. And this is again a goodbye picture with Martin Janetsky and Jiří Harcuba in front of the studio of Corning, and Hannah, my supportive wife, who is really uh, is she's really uh, good with what am I doing? Sometimes I'm very unhappy because something breaks. Sometimes, um, but I'm very glad I have a wife like Hannah. She can understand. We are artists, and sometimes stuff
Oh,
doesn't go the way we
we
want.
all love Hannah, and Christine, a friend of the gallery, is saying that she's very nice as well. And
Yes, she is also artist. She said because she's doing ladies' hairs and stuff like that. So she's very creative as well.
yeah. Do we have any more questions or comments? Now's your chance to talk to this wonderful artist and a
Thank
master,
you.
really, in his art form.
There was a question about if the glass is with bubbles or if it's completely without bubbles, how that works.
Yeah, the glass which I'm using, it's usually no bubbles. And if I need to cast something, I usually put a chunk of glass in the cast in the mold with no bubbles in it. So if some bubbles happen, that's unfortunate. But I like to work with very clean and pristine glass because all the pieces which I created, they are so perfect. I think anything will be interrupted.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. Duncan, I know that you have a little bit to say about what's happening in the next couple of weeks in the gallery. And then this is our last talk for the season, for the year. We'll be starting up again in the new year. And of course, we want to wish everyone happy holidays and a wonderful new year.
Well, thank you, Mary, and thank all of you for being here today. We really enjoy these, as I was saying. I want to thank Martin. We
My
are
pleasure.
waiting the new work to come in. It's always exciting to open it up. And we will have the show up in a few weeks. And we are open by appointment. So we would love to see you. If you can give us a call, stop in. We'd love for you to see all of Martin's work and many of our other artists as well. And we have a great lineup. We'll be starting again. What date, Mary?
Well, we're starting the second weekend of January with Martin. If he's not able to be here in person, he'll be attending virtually the VIP opening and explaining the works that you'll be seeing on the pedestals. We will also be working with the AACG, doing special programming for them once a month. So we'll keep you posted about that too. So yeah.
Well, who's our first lineup? Is it Deanna Clayton?
Deanna actually, that's a private group that we'll be doing. We have, oh gosh, I've lost track, I apologize. But we have the Tsuki Glassworks and Charlie Miner coming up. And I'm so sorry that I don't have the lineup right off the top of my head right this minute. But we'll send out an e-blast.
Well, it's because you're doing like 5 different things. So
As is everyone.
I really appreciate it, Mary.
Well, all of us are doing a variety of things. So thank you all. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thanks again, Danielle and Irene. Duncan, couldn't do it without you. So,
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.